welcome to One Called Mama. I am your host, Sam, and I am so thankful that you decided to join me tonight. So, we are filming late tonight. It is after 11 o'clock, and we had a busy day today and a not so busy day. We took like a 3.5 hour nap after church today, all of us, which was really, really nice. And then we spent about 2 hours at the park, and then we went to bed. So it's been a very nice day, a very both restful and full day. So here I am tonight coming to y'all. I thought it would be interesting to talk about burnout, which is something that I am currently experiencing. And the more that I read about it, the more that I realize it's way more it's way more complicated. It's not exactly the word I'm looking for, but it's got way more to it than what I realized originally. Um, we talk about burnout, and I don't know about you, but I've never like researched it until recently, and it's got a lot to it. So I thought it might be beneficial for all of us to kind of get a breakdown of what burnout is and some practical ways to manage it. And before we like dive into this, I really want to start off by saying that I am by no means um, giving you any sort of like advice on how to manage this. If you feel like you're going through burnout right now, I think that some of the things they say is like you should get it diagnosed or you should go speak to a counselor, or things like that. That if you think like you're going through burnout and you're really struggling. Um, so I am not offering advice. I'm not diagnosing you. I'm just sharing with you what I found online, and I will link those resources in the description of this episode, and you can go check them out yourself. You can go do your own research. I just thought it was interesting, some of the things I found. So, yeah, you can just take it with a grain of salt, and please do your own due diligence and research on your own. So, burnout, the what is burnout is it is a state of chronic stress that leads to physical and emotional exhaustion, cynicism and detachment, and feelings of ineffectiveness and lack of accomplishment. I found a second kind of definition of it that I kind of like. I like it. It gives it a different kind of scope of it. So burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion brought on by prolonged or intense stress. It can happen when the demands of your job or life seem unmanageable and it doesn't go away on its own, even with rest. I thought that was very important to note here. Even if you get rest, a lot of rest, and you maybe fix that aspect of your life, that's not going to fix it. Burnout can affect anyone, regardless of their job or lifestyle. It says that recovering from burnout is a personal process, and the timeline can vary. It can take several weeks, months, or even years. It just depends, really. So I have two articles in front of me, and I'm kind of old school. I printed them out. I like to have like the physical copies, and I'm not really like set up to have it on another screen or anything. So you're going to hear some paper rustling, and you can just kind of enjoy the aesthetic of that. But I printed out some signs of burnout, and then some practical ways like to help manage it and to get you on the path of recovering from it. So here are some of the signs of burnout, and you can just sit back and listen and see if any of these resonate with you. Chronic fatigue. They say in the early stages, you may feel a lack of energy and tired most days. In the latter stages, you feel physically and emotionally exhausted and drained. You may feel a sense of dread about what lies ahead on any given day. You can struggle with insomnia. This obviously worsens as it goes along. Some in the beginning, it starts out just missing a couple of nights of sleep, or it's hard to sleep, and then later it turns into a full-blown insomnia. Physical symptoms may include chest pain, heart palpitations, shortness of breath, gastrointestinal pain, dizziness, fainting, and or headaches. Increased illness, so your body is so stressed, it's depleted, your immune system is weakened, so you are more vulnerable to getting sick. You have a loss of appetite. In the beginning, it may mean that you just skip a few meals, and then later on, you just may stop eating entirely. Anxiety, so this can again vary. If you're in the beginning stages of it, it's mild symptoms of tension, worry, or edginess. And then as you move closer to full burnout, the anxiety may become so serious that it interferes with your ability to work productively and may cause problems in your personal life. So the next one is the one I found very, very interesting because, and you'll know why, uh, depression is listed as a symptom of burnout. And we automatically go to depression or anxiety or, stress as the cause of the things that we're dealing with. And um, it's funny that anxiety, depression, these physical symptoms are actually they're symptoms of burnout. So it's just an interesting thing to think that maybe it's a side effect of something bigger, what you're dealing with. So just a good thing to keep in mind. The depression, if you are feeling depressed, maybe see if any of these other things are resonating. I mean, I know a lot of them go hand in hand. Depression is looks so different for everyone. And I just thought it was really interesting that it's listed as a symptom of burnout and it's not just only a standalone thing. Anger. So if you notice that you're dealing with a lot more anger, that's a symptom of burnout. Um, Loss of enjoyment, just things that maybe normally you enjoyed before you're not interested anymore. Pessimism. If you used to be a kind of glass half full type person and now you find yourself thinking glass half empty, that's a sign of it. Isolation. So this might look like mild resistance to socializing in the beginning, and then later you may become angry when someone speaks to you, or you may come in early or leave late to avoid social interactions. Detachment, just a general sense of feeling disconnected from others or your environment. It can take the form of the behaviors described above and result in removing yourself emotionally and physically from your job and other responsibilities. You may call in sick, stop returning calls and emails, or just regularly come in late. Let's see. And then the last are feelings of apathy and hopelessness, increased irritability. This stems from feeling ineffective, unimportant, useless, and increasing sense that you're not able to do things as effectively or efficiently as you once did. And then lack of productivity and poor performance. So I know a lot of this is really kind of pointing to someone like maybe in their work environment, but this also applies to just your personal life as well. Um, it's funny to me. I guess I use that phrase a lot, but I guess I find it interesting. For me, this is I find myself burnout in the aspect of like with the side business that I have running. I hit it so hard for a solid for almost a full year, and I know that doesn't seem like a long time, like not even a full year. I'm still in it. I'm still doing it. I just realized that at the beginning of this year, I just I threw myself into it so hard and so fast that now when I think about doing anything like putting together spreadsheets or updating spreadsheets or making phone calls or just that kind of thing that every business requires, I just have this huge resistance in me to not even I want nothing to do with it. Like I don't it's just something inside of me just kind of pops up and says, nope, we don't want to do that. We don't want to mess with it. It almost like just the thought of working in my business just completely zaps all my energy. And I have no, it's almost like I can't even do it. And it's a very strange thing. And I've never, I don't feel like I've ever experienced something like burnout in my life before. I think this is the first time I've ever gone through it. Um, and I've talked a lot with a very dear friend of mine, kind of about processing it and not really and kind of just self evaluating and understanding what's going on with me because just huge emotional swings, ups and downs, and then having just no desire to do anything and no motivation, um, depressed, weepy, angry, very irritable, just all those things that it listed. And the thing that was really frustrating was me for me was that I could never really find a pattern. I felt like I was really all over the place. So one day I would be fine and feel fine. I would be having like what I would consider a normal day. I was at my baseline. I was, happy, positive, content with life. And either later that day or the next day, I would be, the other end of the spectrum. I would be emotional. I would be frustrated. I would be very easily angered. I wouldn't want to do anything. And so it was very confusing and frustrating to just feel like I was kind of crazy, just losing myself a little bit. Like, what is going on with me? Like, I don't understand. Is it depression? Um, am I just dealing with a lot of anxiety? Or is there just too much new into my life? Or is there just so much that's going on that's unresolved or things that we are dealing with? Am I just not handling it well? And, all of these, like trying to figure it out. Why can't I do it? What's going on? And it really just kind of realizing that burnout is really the right that's what I'm dealing with. And the there's so many factors that play into it, and I really don't want to go into all of those. I know you don't need to hear it. um, but the state of the chronic stress and being in a state of prolonged stress or constant stress, I know exactly what that stems from. I know, um, I 100% know that what those triggers are and what they have been for me over the last year and a half. And I guess there's just some relief knowing that I can approach this differently, that it's not just depression or it's not just, one of these things. The reason I have felt all over the place is because burnout kind of encompasses all of it and affects so many different aspects of your life. Um, and I have had some in the physical things as well. I laugh when I say this. It's not funny. It wasn't funny at the time, but I actually thought I was having a heart attack one night, and the next morning it didn't stop. Well, it did stop, but then it came back, and so I thought I was having. I'm rolling my eyes. I thought I was having a heart attack, and I think it was a panic attack. I couldn't breathe. I had pain in my jaw and my neck. Um, and like the shortness of breath. I felt like I had pain going down my left arm. I had all the symptoms. It was everything. I wasn't just being overreactive, but it stopped like maybe an hour or so after it started, and so I said, "Okay, I'm fine. Let's just go to bed." And then the next morning at church, it started happening again, and so my family. um, my brother had actually had a heart attack not that long ago, and I asked him, I called him and I said, "Hey, just out of curiosity, what were your symptoms?" And he was like, this, why are you asking? And so obviously I had to tell him, and he said, "If you don't take yourself to the emergency room, I'm going to come and get you and take you." So obviously I went and nothing was wrong with me. My heart was completely fine. Um, but it was a panic attack. That's the only thing I can think of, or, anxiety, whatever. And looking back now, I can see why. It's just, in those moments, you don't really understand what's going on with you. And that's part of what the article says is it sneaks up on you. You don't really know it's happening until you're in a full-blown burnout phase, and you're already experiencing a lot of the symptoms. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to share that with you, and I guess I'm trying to keep it a little lighthearted. It's not funny. I'm just kind of laughing at myself because of just in those moments I was just mad and angry that I had to go and that I was wasting everybody's time and stressing everyone out. But it was good that I went. I should have gone. And I'm going to give you some advice. If you ever are in a moment where you feel like something is medically wrong with you, or you're having a heart attack, or something's wrong, you need to go and take yourself to the ER, have someone take you to the ER, and just get it checked out. There's nothing wrong with that. No one's going to think you're ridiculous. Okay, so the I wanted to kind of share the things that they recommend to recover from burnout and to kind of get you on that process. And then I wanted to share my thoughts about that as well. Um, so the first step is actually just acknowledging that you're burnout, acknowledging that, maybe figuring out, evaluating what are the stressors, what are the triggers for you, what is that chronic stress that you have in your life, what is causing that. Um, and once you figure out those stressors, do your best to distance yourself from them. You can't necessarily do that always, but try to find a way to distance yourself if you can, or setting up healthy boundaries so that those stressors are limited. And they said, oh, so setting boundaries, that's one of the next ones they list. And then the other one was reassessing your priorities and goals. It says burnout often signals that something in your life is out of alignment with your values. Take time to think about what's truly important to you. Set new goals or adjust your current ones to fit with your personal and professional aspirations. I really love that. And as I mean, just in general, as you're going about life, um, things shift and change, and what was a priority to you then is not now. And that means you need to reevaluate. You need to change your goals. And I've actually had to do that too. And it's a good reminder for me as well that I've shifted my goals in my head, but I've not really done it on paper or like on my vision board or whatever. So that's a good next step for me, is to visually change what those goals are and my aspirations are so that I can live toward that and visually remind myself. Seeking support, asking for help from friends, family, colleagues, or professional counselors. Obviously, that would be great. My little nugget here is, if you are of the faith, find a really good Christian counselor near you. We have some wonderful Christian counselors here in the area where I live, so I'm very blessed about that. But that's just my little 2 cents there. And then they say making gradual changes. Again, burnout is a slow process. Make small, manageable changes that you can do a little at a time to help mitigate it, but don't overhaul your life all at once. And then celebrate the victories and be patient with yourself as you adapt to your more balanced way of living. And I really love that advice. I really love that they say that, to celebrate your wins. That's so important. Um, and then they say things like prioritize good sleep. If you can get to bed before midnight, I think there's a study on that if you're in bed before midnight, that does the best for your mind and your body. Clear boundaries, make time for fun, practice gratitude, like keeping a journal and writing down things that you're thankful for. Um, eat healthy, eat a good nutritional food every day. not, it doesn't have to all be healthy. Like we all enjoy having a hamburger or going to our favorite place that's, loaded with stuff that we shouldn't eat. And that's great. It's fine. It's totally fine to do that. Just not every day, and certainly limit it to how many times, if you're going to do it like once a week or once every 2 weeks, just be very careful because your nutrition is so important and your body is so important. And a lot of the things that we struggle with physically, mentally, I think stems from our food and from the things that we put in our body. So, um, my only 2 cents in part of the recovery is not much different than what they've already said, um, but really just evaluating maybe and I love lists. I love writing things down. So making lists of things that you really don't want in your life. You don't want to be angry. You don't want to be rushing around. You don't want to be doing things last minute. You don't want to be, whatever the list is for you. And the things that you do want in your life. You want happy kids. You want a clean house. You want healthy food. You want a healthier body. You want a clearer mind. And then writing down, well, what would it look like for me to have those things I want in my life? And what would it look like for me to get rid of the things I don't want in my life? And so, really, it's just helping you process how to think through, really, it's really processing how to create the healthy environment that you're needing and to change the things in your life that aren't serving you well. And something that I am not successful in yet, I want to be, is setting out and planning out your week ahead of time. So that way, every day you know what to expect of yourself and you know what to expect in your productivity. So, and this is for work and personal life. I'm speaking more to personal life just because that's my frame of mind. I'm a stay at home mom. But this also applies for work as well if you're able to make your calendar look like this. So, Mondays are vacuuming the floors and washing all the laundry. And then Tuesdays are mopping. And then Wednesday is dusting. And then Thursday is, whatever, you fill in the blanks. But you have set out and pre-decided what you're going to focus on each day. And every week it can look different. But maybe on Sunday, you sit down and you write out what you want to accomplish on each day of the week. And then those are the only things you allow yourself to focus on during the week. But this would be very helpful because it allows your mind to say to yourself, okay, today we are only focusing on mopping the floors and rotating out the kids' toys. And that is it. We're not doing anything else. And those are the only two like projects we have today. And anything else that gets done, great. But if not, it's not a big deal and we're not going to worry about it. And it really allows you to not put so much pressure on yourself, and it helps you stay extremely focused and intentional. And that is very, very helpful when you feel overwhelmed by your house, when you feel overwhelmed by the list of things you have to do. It's very helpful to know that this is all that's expected of you today. And this is definitely enough. And if you get more done, great. If not, at least do your best to get this done. So that was my only little bit of advice for that. Um, I think burnout is a very interesting it's fascinating reading about this, and I'd be interested to hear y'all's comments on this, and if you've gone through burnout before or if you're in it now. Um, it's just something that I've not dealt with until now, and I'm like I said, I'm in it. I don't know how far into it I am in, but I definitely um, resonate with a lot of the symptoms. And so just making sure that I'm prioritizing things that I need to in my life. And that's why I'm excited about this month off that we're taking a break. So from today's episode is going to be the last episode of this first season, and then we'll start season 2 of the show mid to late July. And I'm very excited about this time off because it's going to allow me to really focus on the things that I have been wanting to do and feel like I don't have the energy or the time for. And it'll help me give me that space to reevaluate the things that I need to shift in my life and how to manage the things that I'm dealing with. Because like our last episode, was pretty emotional and we talked about some pretty heavy stuff. And that was one of my bad days. And I didn't not want to show up. But I also I knew in order to even show up, I had to acknowledge it. And so that's why we talked about what we did on the last episode. So if you find yourself in this phase, I want to lift you up in prayer. I want you to know that it's definitely a very common thing. We live in a very stressful time and a very dark time. So yeah, I think a lot of people are probably going to resonate with this. So anyway, like I said, this is our last episode of the season. I'll see you in a month. Please leave me comments below, any suggestions for upcoming episodes that you would like for me to talk about or discuss on the show. Please let me know. I would love to know what you are thinking. If you have any prayer requests, please send them to onecalledmama@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram at sam_onecalledmama. Also, the newsletter is going to be going out at the end of this month. And if you would like to be added to that newsletter, please also send me an email at the onecalledmama@gmail.com and I will get you added. And yeah, I'm very excited about that. It looks amazing. And I'm just really excited about that newsletter. It's going to be really, really fun. And I'm hoping to build a community, not only here, but with the newsletter. And the other exciting thing that I'm really excited to launch is the YouTube channel. So that is something I'm wanting to get started between this time and when we come back for season 2. So a lot of things, exciting things that I'm looking forward to coming up. And just please join me in prayer over the show, over just ministering to women and mothers and everyone in the community who could benefit from tuning in. So this is God's, and I'm just excited to see where He takes it. So I hope you have a blessed end of June and middle of July. It was very awkward, and I will be seeing you again very, very soon. Take care.